Hello and welcome to another episode of the Just Go Watch podcast. We're midway through October. We've not done a horror yet. Don't worry. We're going to rectify that today with Terrifier 3.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, do you know, I'm so gutted because I'm so gutted we can't do the music because
I know.
Terrifier 2, it's got that sick beat. It's got that sick beat at the end, isn't it? Like, and we can't do it anymore because of this platform.
The song in this one's good.
It is. Yeah, the Christmas song.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, the bit at the end, the end credit scene. That music is top notch.
Okay. Yeah, fair. Well, of course, you are back with your chief host, Commander-in-Chief, and other chief-related ranks. Had your plan, MP, and of course, returning special guest, Deej. Deej, how is it to be?
Yes,
to be back. You got to be here.
I don't need
absolute fucking dog shit.
I do not need to see it to know it's dog shit.
Well done, sir. Well done.
You enjoyed that, didn't you? Yeah. Well.
It's so good to have the whole team back now.
Yeah. I've been listening while I've been away, and MP's been giving it his all. Hachi has been phoning it in consistently. I've often wondered whether or not it would have been better just to have been a solo pod, but I do believe that when I'm here, Hachi rages his game. For random idea of the Pod Nation, and you'll know me, for I will lift up my brothers.
Do you know what? It's been 2 weeks since I've heard that, and it's been 2 weeks of bliss.
You will one day acknowledge me.
I've missed the new ideas.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Here comes
reviews.
That's right. I am your tribal chief. I am the Roman Reigns of the podcast world, and you will acknowledge me as your tribal chief.
Is that a wrestling reference?
Yeah, it is.
Oh well, that's
the fact that you don't know
well for this film.
Oh yeah, we did. Oh, Chris Jericho, Chrissy J.
That was a really poor, really poor segue. It did work though. Speaking of, here we go. You see how the host moves it along. Get away from the Muad Deej bullshit. Yes, Terrifier 3.
How dare you? Fucking dare you?
Art the Clown returns. Directed once again by Damien Leone. Full control, full editing control. He's given the I think he's given up the reins of the old makeup, set design stuff. He's doing most of it. It's his baby. With a runtime of 125 minutes. Yeah, MP, you weren't here for Terrifier 2, and I don't want to ask you what you think because I want to fresh. I don't want to be knowing where your head's at when you're
then I
down.
won't tell you.
Have you seen both Terrifier and Terrifier?
I have seen now all 3 Terrifier films.
Okay. In preparation for this one.
I didn't watch them this week. But...
Okay, good.
But I have seen them.
Okay.
I'm really excited to just hear about this shit. You know, because it's horror season.
Well, I listened to the second one,
yes.
And if you've not heard our Terrifier 2 one, it's not going to be on YouTube. So sorry for our followers there, but yeah, listen to that on pods. That is with the dearly departed Julesy, who himself actually was the inspiration for some of the Terrifier deaths.
Yeah, he was.
The prostate exam with a chainsaw.
Yeah. Not because
that's right.
Not because he was not because he was doing the killing. You understand? He was murdered.
No.
No.
In fact, his actual death was so gruesome that they had to they were like, oh, we can't do that in the film, so we'll have to break it up. So one person's going to die this way, another person's going to die this way. They had to basically break up. Obviously, Julesy himself suffered from many different fates. It was a most gruesome death.
Yeah.
But an honorable one.
Yeah, and you can't a man like Jules, you can't just think you're going to get a chainsaw and chop him up into pieces because you'd be there all day.
No.
You'd be there all day with a man of that size. You'd run
out of fuel.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
100%. You need
if you
to
tried
replace
to
the
use,
blades of the chainsaw.
if you tried to use a wood axe, then your arm would break before you were done, or the axe itself would break. There's no way.
And torturing him would be pointless because he'd be dead before he'd realize you started doing something. Before his brain had realized that something even bad was happening, he'd be long dead. So it'd be pointless.
Well,
Yes, exactly.
after being on this show for 10 months now, I'm sure his last thoughts were, the sweet release of death.
Okay, so Terrifier 3, obviously not known for its big budgets, but what do you think was the budget of this one? A little bit of context in case you've forgotten. The last one, which you actually looked up.
I haven't.
You little shit, Deej.
You
looked at the last one, which was
750, wasn't it?
250,000. No, I thought it was
250,000. I thought it was 750. Are you sure? I'm sure it was 750.
Am I sure?
That will change my.
Of course, I'm not sure.
All right. Well, look, I thought it was 750, and
the original one,
I
the budget was 250. I knew I'd be right. I wouldn't get something like the budget wrong. That's like the sole reason I'm here.
250 on Terrifier 2, not 1.
That's Terrifier 2, 250. Wow. I am very sure. I'm as sure as Wikipedia is.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean,
all right.
who could argue?
Do you remember the budget for the first one? 35 to 55,000.
Wow.
Jeez. Well, see,
Damn.
I was going to say 1.5 million because I thought, all right, it's going to have doubled on what the first one was. So I thought it was 750. So I'll have to say 500,000. I reckon it's going to be double Terrifier 2 because I don't think it was massively more. I don't think there was like that much more in terms of set pieces or anything like that. But, like it did. I do think there would have been a bit of an increase. I'll say 500,000.
Okay. I'm going to go... because this one looks a lot better. I'm gonna go. I'm going $1 million.
2 million.
Wow.
2 million.
2 million.
That's impressive.
When will I learn?
When will I learn?
They got their dollars worth out of that.
I actually felt that I could tell the quality was better. In my opinion, I thought the cinematography.
Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah,
I
thought
thought
the practical effects were better.
Lighting effects for me, they were definitely. Whoa, I'm almost getting into the review here. Sorry about that, guys. I know everybody listening. Like, hang on, we want our 15 to 20 minutes of bullshit before you get to the review.
And we cannot deny the fans.
No. So that's the budget. What do we think it's made at the box office? So we are at the end of the weekend. So we do have, I believe, mostly the main. Let me just double check.
Is this
actual
worldwide or just in America?
Okay, no. So all I have is domestic.
Okay, so the only one that matters.
Yes, I just have domestic. Yes, only domestic.
Do we know where it's been released? Has it been released worldwide, or is it just in like certain?
I don't have any. There's no numbers for worldwide, as in it comes up with a big fat 0. So it's obviously, I've got no numbers. Like basically all of Europe, Japan, Australia.
Okay, I don't know. I will say
it's basically US. US
What are these weird words you're using?
All right.
Australia. I don't know.
I will say I did accidentally see one thing, which was that it made 2. No, listen, this was accident. I didn't mean to see this, but I saw it on a post on YouTube that it had made from the Thursday night previews. It had made 2.6 million. I did see that. So I reckon when you put Friday and Saturday, and I've got to think it's got to have made 10 million.
Okay.
Wow, it made 2 million the first night. The theater I was in was surprisingly full, almost full. It's Halloween. It's a horror movie. Yeah, I'll go 12 million.
18.3.
Wow. Oh man.
And that's not even. That's not even. So obviously, seeing it in the UK, there's none of the numbers there. So, yeah.
Damn.
God, the profit on this is going to be monstrous.
Insane. Yeah.
Yes. God bless you, Damien. I mean, more power to you, my man.
Exactly.
More power to you.
Yeah. Man knows how to make some money. All right. Well, Deej, you were a huge fan of Terrifier 2, and slashers are your bag. So, given that, and given I am, chief host, I can delegate this kind of thing. Why don't you do the plot summary?
Oh my God. I was not expecting this at all. And let me tell you, this is going to be all over the gaff, right? But feel my enthusiasm, listeners, and feel how much I care about this kind of thing. So
Your enthusiasm.
we start the film. We start the film 5 years after the last one with a prologue that you probably read loads about, because I had before I even went in. And all I was told was people are going to walk out after the first 10 minutes. It quickly becomes apparent as Art hacks apart a literal child and chops him limb from limb, and then kills kills a husband and wife team in equal brutal fashion. And then seemingly is about to kill a little kid. We then go back in time 5 years, and we are back in the sanitarium where Vicky has given birth to Art's head. Art's head, Vicky and Art's body gruesomely kill Chris Jericho, get themselves out of the sanitarium, get themselves into this I don't know what you call it, abandoned house. Art's going to sit on this whatever it was. Art's going to sit in a rocking chair and essentially just chill the fuck out. Vicky's going to slit her wrists and die. We move forward to the present day. We're back with our heroine from the last one. She's suitably fucked up, of course, but coming out of some kind of mental institution, but not a proper, not a bad one. The kind of one you'd have seen in The Crow, where you can just walk out. Apparently, she's remember that, yeah, with the argument we had. Hey, bring it back.
Anyway. That's the most horrific thing about anything right now. The horror of that movie.
Anyway, so Vicky's trying to recover her life. Meanwhile, Art is awoken by two helpless blokes who get suitably murdered. Vicky awakens also, and they carry on a killing spree. They're trying to find Vicky, because it turns out, not Vicky, trying to find Sienna, because Sienna apparently is the only one that can kill them. They go on a killing spree, kill basically everyone she cares about, until we reach a climactic final scene in which Sienna manages to kill Vicky, manages to, we think, kill Art, only for hell to open up, gobble up her niece-in-law. Niece? Is that her niece? Yeah, gobble up her niece. Art escapes, and we're left with Sienna now with all these, with apparently Wolverine-like powers, ready to go and hunt him down and try and rescue her niece. That's the plot. That's the plot. Essentially, that's the plot.
Good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Being put on the spot like that, I'm impressed. The Muad'Dib delivers again.
Yeah. You shall know him.
It was also. Sometimes it's good. You need to know the limits of your underlings, when to push them, when to know that they can rise to the challenge, and that's what I try to do as a host.
Oh my God!
So that is the plot.
Blasphemy.
I think Deej probably put more story in it than actually is in it. MP, as we've not heard any of your thoughts on Terrifier, you are going to have the privilege of going first. So what was your rating? What was your assessment, and what was your rating?
Right. Terrifier 3. Oh, Lord, this is a nasty, offensive, it's bloody, brutal, it's absolutely disgusting movie, and I enjoyed 95% of the damn thing. I do love a good slasher. I've enjoyed the first two. I think the first one was really good as just sort of a throwback to 80s cheesy, schlocky horror movies, slasher movies. Terrifier 2 I liked, but I think it went on too long. When you start pushing over 2 hours in a slasher movie, you're going to have some issues, which kind of we touch on a little bit in this movie as well. But I like Art the Clown. I thought he was going through these movies, he's become one of the best, kind of characters in these slasher movies, up there with Michael and all them stuff. So again, in this movie, that continues on. If you've seen the other two and you like Art the Clown, or you're a fan of Art the Clown, you're going to get a good dose of Art the Clown in this. The actor, what's his name? David Howard Thornton or something like that, does a great job sort of balancing the brutalness of his attacks with always punctuates it with something funny, his facial expressions, or there's a point I know Deej mentioned it, the controversial opening of the movie, which I have to say, in the movie theater, I was the first person to laugh at anything, and it was during that controversial opening. So I should tell you a little bit about myself. But yeah, where he cleans the plate after he does all this murder, that made me laugh. Or towards the end where he's got Sienna, she's tied to the charity. Every time he walks by her, he slaps her in the back of the head. I don't know, shit like that always just makes me laugh. So again, he continues on in this movie. You're gonna love him. The gore, yes, again, it's everywhere. I think they've done a really good job with the budget. They've used every dollar they can. It's nasty and it's disgusting. And there were a couple that I had to look away, but there were a few where I was like, damn, how the hell did they do that? All the people getting their heads split open. That was pretty cool. I like the girl Lauren Lavera as Sierra. I think she is probably, I know the acting in this movie wasn't great, but I think she's putting in a pretty good performance. Got some issues with the character. God, what else? I love seeing Tom Savini has a cameo in the movie, so anytime I get to see him, I'm happy. This movie, I think it feels better than the second one. Like I said, it went longer in the second one. This one has paced better. You get more of the clown kind of interjected into this family scenes. However, moving into kind of negative stuff, this is still a bit too long. It's got way too many plots that are kind of pointless. The brother side of the plot, I don't even know why that was in there. You could have cut that out and not had any issues. I mean, it was really there just to have a couple people extra to kill. You had a little too much happy family time. I understand trying to build these characters up so you care about them, but Jesus Christ, it was way too many. Oh, let's make Christmas stuff. And I was like, all right, let's just get on with it. Also, there are some threads with like the supernatural stuff that I dug in the second one. They kind of do the same thing here, but it doesn't really progress much. And there was one thread that I really liked with a dead friend that showed up and terrorized Sienna that I liked, but they really didn't go anywhere with that. And there was one negative to art. I think he's kind of falling into the Freddy or Chucky trope of he's kind of the funny killer that we're all kind of rooting for at this point. So when he's not on the screen, you get a little bit bored. Other than that, I really had a good time with it. It is what it is. If you've seen the other movies and you like them, you know what you're going to get. If you don't like slashers or gore, then you're going to stay the hell away from this movie. It's not particularly scary. It is what it is. So I'm going to give it a 6.5.
Okay, Deej, big fan of Terrifier 2. You enjoyed Terrifier 1 as well. What do you think of Terrifier 3?
Yeah, man. Let me tell you, I was anxious going to see this film. I was anxious all week long because I was like, listen, I actually don't like gore. I don't know if I said this before, but I'm not a fan of gore, man, so much. And like, I just know I'm going to see some horrendous shit with art, man. And like, so every time I see these gory kills, I'm always like, I put myself in that person's spot and I'm like, fuck me, this would be awful. But I fucking love this clown, man. I fucking love this clown. Damien Leone, listen, this guy's a fucking genius. The guy's a fucking genius. I think this film works on so many levels that people just don't even, I don't even think people are looking at, right? Because, yes, it's gory as fuck, which is the kind of like, it's the thing that's drawing people in, right? But he's taking so many kind of like different things and bringing them together. Like, when have you ever seen a horror movie set at Christmas like this? Like, I don't think one exists. Like, it's not just like it's at Christmas. He's drawing on the iconography of Christmas. You know what I mean? The lovely Christmas trees, like that beginning bit where he's showing this beautiful Christmas house and this lovely family and this little girl. And you're like, you don't see shit like this. He's like breaking these conventions. And like when that kid dies, and you just know straight away, like there are no rules here. Like anyone can get it. And I was like, this is dope. And then the way this whole fantasy thing, like, it's kind of like this science fiction kind of like high fantasy thing with her and angels and this mythology part, which I agree with MP wasn't developed massively in this one, but blending that in with this kind of gory horror, I just don't think I've ever seen anything like this film. I don't think this kind of concept has ever existed before. I can't think of it anyway. So I think fucking, if nothing else, this film's so original and Art the Clown is so good that you just, I don't know, man. There's so much to like about this film. Art is fucking genius. The guy who plays Art, I just think he's elite as a character. Art is just so good. Like I disagree with MP. I want him dead. I'm not rooting for him one bit. I want him gone. I want this guy to get fucking dealt with. I hate him so much, but I can't help but love the performance. Like, he's such a shithouse, man. His fuckery is on the next level. Like, I'm with MP. I'm laughing at him all the time, and I hate it. Like when he's washing up, when he's like when he's listening to them have their conversation, he's like, I don't want to fuck him. And he's like, no. like the guy is fucking genius, man. I liked Vicky. I thought, she's kind of, I mean, obviously disturbing, but at the end, when like it's no longer even trying to pretend to be Vicky, it's just talking as the demon, the voice is a bit different. I was like, yeah, this is creepy as fuck. So I thought that was another interesting thing. The kills themselves are just, I mean, at this point, they're just fucking awful. But again, I like the fact this isn't Michael Myers where he's just going to go around stabbing people or chainsawing someone. He's like interested in like finding different ways to kill people. He's blowing people up. He's shooting people. He's making like fucking liquid metal, not liquid metal, fucking what's it called? The fucking the freezing film. God, he called it liquid nitrogen. Yeah, and like freezing a guy and then beat. He's just he's so horrible. Like he is so horrible. So I just think this is film. If you like horror, you're gonna love it. And even if you don't like horror, I mean, if you don't like horror, then you're not going to like this film. But if you just like films, you like interesting concepts, I just think this is a good film overall. So I'm going to give it only because I think I couldn't give it much higher just because there are some issues with it. And also I couldn't recommend it to everyone because it is niche. So I'll say a 7, but on the horror scale, I'd give this an 8 or an 8.5. But if you're a horror fan, 8 or an 8.5 easily.
Okay. So obviously Terrifier 2, I could acknowledge what it does, but it just isn't really for me. Here, I can't really change. I could basically pick up what I said about Terrifier 2 and just repost it here and save everybody a lot of time. But I'm not going to do that because I like the sound of my own voice. So art is amazing, right? I'm going to start with all the positives. He is just the actor portraying him. He is so good at that physical, to not say a word over 3 films and be the absolute number one thing I want to see on screen for all 3 of these movies. Is impeccable. His facial expressions. I mean, the whoever's doing his sort of makeup and everything else is just exquisite. As you guys have touched on, when he's expressing himself, I thought the bar scene was my favorite, where he's like excited. Oh my god, it's center type of thing. He doesn't need to say anything. You get it. You know when he's annoyed. You know when he's sad. I thought also the shopping center. Shopping mall scene was great, like when all the kids are charging at him and he's like no, like, so he is great, right? And he's a sadistic fuck. It's a better acted stuff. You can see maybe the budget went into a little bit. There is still some kind of B movie grade acting from the guys in the bar, actually, which I thought was surprising considering those guys I actually recognize as having been in stuff. And just generally, I thought, the auntie and the uncle were a bit meh, but Sienna was good. The cousin was good. Jonathan, I thought, was weak in Terrifier 2. Here, he's weak again. Then his friend and the girl weren't bad. The one who wants to do the podcast aren't bad. Anyone who wants to do a podcast can't be that bad. So the acting was a little bit better. The gore, I mean, if you like that kind of thing, you're going to enjoy this. It's the same. You like Terrifier 2, you're going to like Terrifier 3. Absolutely no shadow of a doubt. If you didn't like Terrifier 2, this is not going to change your mind. You're not going to suddenly watch Terrifier 3 and be like, you know what? You're killing kids now. I'm in. It's not going to happen. I actually didn't have an issue with, like, I heard some reviews that were like, oh yeah, it went past that line. And I was like, did it though? Like, they didn't show any kids.
What, like the last one didn't?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I find it very strange. I suppose I'll talk about this, like the things that people are accepting, but then it's like, oh, but they use religious iconography. Are you joking me? He literally ripped the skin off a girl's back and poured bleach on it in the second one, and that's not a taboo. I mean, there is a question to be raised about the violence specifically against women, which is apparent in both. Compared to the men who seem to get an easier time, although that does change somewhat in this film.
I was about to say.
Although even I would say this film, I don't think has the same shock factor in some ways. Nothing beats that bedroom scene in Terrifier 2. And when I say beats, I mean
Nah.
fuck me. Yeah. I was genuinely anxious going in. I was like, fucking hell, they're saying it's worse. How can it be fucking worse? So it does give you that anxiety when I was watching it. But for me, it's not scary. I love horrors. We've said it before. I'm more of a supernatural kind of stuff. I don't feel this film does the supernatural stuff particularly well. They don't explain. I thought this was a real good opportunity to maybe bring things on from number 2, which introduce some of these elements. Here, they don't do anything really to carry on. They leave more questions than answers once again. And I don't mind having some questions still, but they don't do anything with it. In fact, I would say they even regress with some of it. And, you know, you've got like Jonathan being completely shunted out, which I thought was a misstep there, really. There's a few kills off screen that I thought should have been on screen. But the real conclusion is this is not a film for me. I don't really care for the gore stuff. I don't really care for the kills. For me, it's very evident that a lot of it's not real. It was better, but it's just like, okay, fine. And for it to be, you know, just over the 2-hour mark, yeah, it's a long thing for me to watch. And ultimately, I'm just never going to watch it again, really. So I gave the last one, I think, a 5 because I sort of saw what it was trying to do and I really appreciated art. I actually think it's the same. Last week, there was one clown who brought a film up that was otherwise quite poor, in my opinion. This one, there's another clown who brings it up. It's a film that's just not for me. So this is getting the same rating, 4.5.
Well, all right. There you go.
4.5. Well,
listen, it's just below the average mark for me because it's just not for my type of film. And I said that exact same thing about the last one.
Just art and his performance deserves more than a 4.5, man.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the film as a whole, and he is on screen often a lot less actually because they keep going back and forth. It's almost like the fucking Rings of Power when they look at the half-foots, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, fuck off, get me back to the fucking other stuff. You know, they go. I thought they could have. MP, you mentioned it when they brought up like the dead friends, and I was like, oh, that would be I would really love. That would be great in this kind of film as well. It would be quite funny. Not funny, but like it would be interesting to really start looking at the effects because she must, of course, she'd see stuff, she'd have flashbacks, she'd have all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
she must have serious,
she knows is dead in a horrible way.
PTSD. Exactly, and then we see her friend once. I thought
really
introduced that really well. Past the rice. I was like, what the fuck's going on there? Like someone's just asked for the rice, but no one's acknowledging it. I thought that was really, really well done. But that's the only time we ever see it.
Yeah,
I thought that was a misstep.
On that.
That was a misstep. You could have had the other bloke who got his dick stabbed off.
I really even just had her, the same friend, just kind of be that thing that shows up as her conscience or his craziness from time to time, just to add some more insanity to this insane movie.
Yeah, for me, I feel the story is once again really weak as well, linked to that.
Yeah,
because
story
there's not the first hour, like there's no connection. The first hour is almost like two completely separate things they're showing alongside. You've got Art doing his thing, right? Gradually getting closer and closer. And on the other side, you've got Sienna dealing with her PTSD essentially. And then
that is the story though. That is the story, isn't it?
Yeah,
that she's because you can't link them together from the start, can you? Like, I mean, they are linked.
We had linked them in Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
We'd already linked them. Yeah, but now taken them apart.
But now she's trying to get over
again.
No, because she's trying to get over the trauma, right? And then you've got Art, who I don't understand why Art's asleep for 5 years, right? That they don't really.
This is what I mean. They want to reset. They want to reset where everything is, so that they can then redo essentially the second one again, but with a slightly different type of thing. It's basically the second one again. We're gonna have this one girl who's the chosen one, but we're gonna kill everybody around you. That's exactly.
There is a lot of similarities to the second one. I do agree with that. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. With a Terrifier film, certain things you're looking for in it, like, you know, obviously the kills, the gore. I agree with MP. I like Sienna, and I feel it with that the you know, bringing Vicky into it and the kind of this whole that moving on a bit and saying that you're the only thing that can kill them because they're, you know, you're essentially the champion of good and things. I thought it moved the story on enough, but the things I go to see a film like this for were all present in it, so it doesn't matter. The question for me really is, what do they do in the next one? Because obviously there's going to be a 4, obviously.
obviously.
And they can't. What they can't do is just do same thing again. It can't be, you know, Sienna. And I'm sure they're not going to because, you know,
I would have argued
she's
that
like,
you shouldn't do that this time.
None of her family is
No,
going to
I
want her
don't
to
feel-
come over. No, go to a hotel.
no, I
Don't
mean-
stay with us.
Well, I assume that this next one is going to be, you know, she's like, Gabby, I'll find you. And I presumably now Art can be killed because the link to the, you know, the thing that reincarnates him is now dead. So
Yeah.
I assume that Art can be killed. And I mean, what I'm hoping for, and I think it'll be a really big misstep if he doesn't, is that the next one's the last one. I mean, I do have fears that this is going to turn into something that's going to be like, you know, in Terrifier 10 type of thing. But I'm hoping the next one will be the last one.
I don't think it would.
And
It's too much.
that you're going to
This one's
have
too much of
I agree.
a love thing.
I don't think they're. Yeah, I don't think they're. I don't think so. But I just, you know, just you can imagine that it's the kind of thing that could. But I'm hoping that the next one is just going to be a revenge. You know, a revenge thriller where essentially where Sienna is literally hunting down Art, and Art's killing people, obviously, but that she is hunting him down. You know, essentially now to kill him. It's no longer Art hunting her. It's now her hunting Art, and I think that'd be a good change.
Yes.
And then you finish it like that. You know, I think that would be good. And I'm down for a 4th because I think
I agree.
it's there for it.
I think I'm down. Well, I'm slow to say I'm down for a 4th. A 4th,
You know you are.
that progresses things. For me, this one was basically Terrifier 2.5, despite the fact that there's this somehow 5-year thing, which again's not explained. Why is this demon just brought Art back to then be like, by the way, we're going to do this one killing spree and then go into stasis for 5 years? You know, it's not like he looked like he was like, it wasn't like I thought they were going to do like a Jeepers Creepers type thing, but they don't quite go there. I felt, first of all, they were going to do that when he takes the police officer's head. And I thought he was going to like morph it into his own, obviously, and then it doesn't do that. And then I thought it was going to be some sort of stasis thing because he's taken all these injuries, but essentially you've reset him, so he doesn't need to do that. It was like, okay, you're basically just doing that because you want to then like progress it and have the other characters grown up a little bit. There's no reason why that happens. Why wouldn't you just continue? And then because all it needs to do is somebody else comes across you.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
some random workers come
don't know.
across and you're like, oh yeah, we're back in.
Yeah, that's sort of
Yeah, I
the
don't
frustrating
know.
thing I had with the second one as well, is when you introduce these supernatural things, but you make it so vague. That's where you get frustrated as a movie fan. You're like, I want to know more. And then like after the second one, I thought this one was going to give us more of that background. And as you've mentioned, it doesn't really. There's a few little things here and there that it adds to it, but not enough to kind of justify it having that. So I'm hoping, I know DG said the revenge, that would be awesome to have her chasing him down. I thought that's what the third one was going to be. But hopefully we'll get, if we're going to dive into that world of supernatural things, then let's just dive into it and settle it. You know what I mean?
I think you could.
But I hope they
really
like focus on the. No. So this is pods for people that actually enjoyed this film. You may as well log off your negativity.
No, that's not how we do. That's not how we do things here. Plus, I need to be there to balance out your overhyping of every single film before you give it a mediocre 7 rating.
Why
think
do
would be
you
really
hate
good-
me? So,
I just hate that you just don't care about the pod. You're just never here.
nah, you
I
are.
feel so,
you
I feel so
are.
good.
Oh boy.
You
So
are
good
the
to say
worst. The worst man. You are the worst man. You are to my soul as Art was to the limbs of children in this film. And also,
I didn't have an
you are to
issue. I didn't have an
children
issue with him.
as Art.
Do you know what? I was like, I got to be really careful here because if I say anything about like I didn't find it an issue of Art killing kids, I know I'm going to get something like, well, obviously you wouldn't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
People saying, oh yeah, this like goes on past the line and stuff. I was like, you don't even see anything really.
No.
okay, yeah, you see a
No, they were
few
smart
mangled
not.
child corpses. You don't see him killing
Yeah.
any of them. I was
They
a
were
bit like,
they were
come
smart
on,
enough. Yeah.
you were
It
the
would
one
have
who
been
was supposed to say, fuck your like standards. I'm gonna do what I want.
I don't know. It would have
Um,
been pretty brutal if I'd have seen him taking an axe at that little girl. That might have been it for me. And
do you know what I
could
thought?
withstand a lot.
That would have been a lot.
The thing is, he lost his arsehole there, didn't he? A little bit. And
Yeah,
I'm glad he
yeah.
did because I did
thought
not
you
want to see.
fucking
I did
Yeah,
not
I
want to
don't
see
think
that
I
little
could do
girl
it.
get killed.
No.
yeah, but part of
I
me
did
was
not
like,
want to see that little girl get
coward.
killed. No way.
Do you know what I thought? Right? Do you know
No
what I thought
way.
was going to do? Because they set up the frame of the kitchen of him in it with the oven in the middle, and I thought it was going to be like she gets seen, and then he turns the oven on, and then it cuts, so that you're
would've been
left
good.
to then think that she was going to be put in the oven and left to like bake or whatever, or like
No.
she, you see him turn the oven on, and then like it's almost like a phase forward a little bit. And then there's like a timer that's ding, and then he's like, and as he goes to the oven, then it cuts to something sick like that.
I think we're slowly descending to a point where like literally nothing is off the table, because originally you couldn't kill a kid, yeah. Now you can chop up like I don't know, what was he supposed to be, like 10, 12-year-old or whatever.
Something like
You can
that,
chop
yeah.
him up, yeah. Like still it appears that it's taboo to kill a little girl. As soon as someone starts killing little girls and then babies are on the table and shit like that, then you're gonna know literally the fabric of
that
society
would
is gone.
be
So far we haven't crossed that line.
No.
And you know what? I'm I'm gonna say this. I'm happy for him to keep the line he's got now. I'm happy for him not to be killing little girls. I'm happy for that, because I was literally, when that little girl, when he opened it and was waving at her, I was like, just leave her alone, please. Do you know the worst thing about art is though, right? This is the thing. Every time he meets someone, right, I think to myself, oh, maybe like we're gonna discover now that like there is a little soft spot in him for certain things. Like when he was being Santa Claus and he's got all these kids on his lap, I was like, oh, he looks like he's genuinely enjoying that. And he walks away and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then he fucking blows them all up. I'm like, no, this guy is that. You keep getting lulled into this false sense of security. Like when he's with those guys.
Yeah.
It's
not body parts in the sack. He's not.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was gonna be.
What's this? What's this arm, or like something like that? No. He's
it's actual toys.
Yeah.
Like when he was in that bar scene, I thought maybe this is gonna be one of them things where like you're not gonna see what happens in here, and he's gonna walk out in Santa Claus outfit, and you're gonna be like, oh god, he's obviously killed them. And then there's gonna be a cut scene at the end where they're all still sitting in the bar or something, and you're like,
he gets
more to
drunk
it
with
than
him.
this.
Yeah.
And then you actually, no, it is just the worst.
I found with some of them, like, so there was this really annoying guy in my cinema who was sitting right behind me. He was American MP, so I have a word with you.
Well, naturally,
and he was doing this classic thing, and I do find this is what Americans do, is that so Art walks past the window at the bar, and he walks past the window, then does a double take, doesn't he, and looks in, and the American, I can literally hear him. He's like, "Oh boy." And I was like, shut up. Why are you every time there would be like something's about to happen. Like, so the kids in the mall, he was like, "Oh, shut the fuck up." Do you know what I mean? Like, it was so frustrating. It was like, I even heard him at one point. He must have been on a date, and he's like, "How are you enjoying the movie so far?" I couldn't hear what she said, but like, I don't know. I'd be so interested to see actually. Was she having a good time? But yeah, also shut the fuck up. You don't need a verbal reaction. He also did laugh out loud at the explosion of the kids. So
well,
that tells you something.
God bless America.
I just gave a mere chuckle.
I laughed a lot. I laughed a lot at Art, but
there was a lot to laugh at.
It's his little mannerisms. It's just the little mannerisms he does. The way he reacts to things is just it's so on point. So on point.
That part you brought up where he was listening to the podcaster and her boyfriend's like, "Oh, you just want to fuck him," and he's like, "Yeah," and he crosses his fingers. I was laughing.
Yeah.
You can tell that
he's like, "Oh,"
and you can tell it's not scripted. Like he's kind of like ad hocing his reactions, and he's such a he's such a good physical actor. So he's like really does embody it, and it's always hilarious when he's listening to people talk, and he's doing these funny bits and pieces, because at some point he's gonna brutally and cruelly kill these people. Like he just,
Yeah.
oh god, he's so interesting as a character. Like it's oh
Do you-
god, it's bizarre, but he's so
I
interesting.
heard some stuff recently about Terrifier 2. Do you remember the scene in the shop, like the way he's trying on the glasses and stuff
Yeah.
like that? So
Yeah.
so what, it wasn't part of the script. So first of all, she has a bag with her. Sienna does, and she was supposed to bring it with her, like to the till, but she forgets it. Like the actor actually or forgot it wherever, and the actor, obviously in art, then like brought it and dumps it on the desk, which ends up being like essentially a jump scare. But that was unscripted, as in she was supposed to already have the bag. But then you'd have some continuity error later on because how she got that bag because she left it in the shop. Then what he also had in the same shop was when he's trying on all the bits and he's doing like the little blow up thing, like that was all just him just fucking around. They filmed it all and then edited together the best bits. But it was literally just do your thing.
Yeah.
I fucking love stuff like that. It's just so good because it just tells you that there is somebody here who genuinely cares, and that is why I suppose I give this stuff time. Joker last week, I just think what a terrible movie, what a terrible idea. You've completely failed. The only thing that is giving you any kind of buoyancy there is Joaquin Phoenix, who is giving his all as Joker and really believes in it. You have some love there, but otherwise it is a completely loveless shit show. Whereas this, I feel like there's love from a lot more directions. You got the director, you got the actors and stuff like that. But it's just not for me. It's just not for me.
Following on that point, I think that's why I can give it a little more like leeway with some of the elements it brings up that it's not explaining fully, and you're like, okay, well that'll be in the next movie. Because unlike, and I mentioned Freddy with all the his movies, how that it just changed from movie to movie. This one, you got that one person, the director, writer, who's in charge of it. So you've got him. So you kind of have faith in him that he's gonna give you what you think because he does have an actual plan for what's coming up.
Yeah,
100%. He 100%. Because listen, Damien Leone, this is his baby from start to finish, isn't it? Like,
yes,
this isn't like he's just jumped on board. He's even before Terrifier 1, he's got all the the short stories where art first comes into it. Like this is his thing, and he's. I mean, if you think about it, this has changed his life because he's gone from an indie filmmaker, making this little horror film on a tiny shoestring budget to a film that's made him a millionaire. Must have made him a millionaire now. So it's there's reason for him to put love into it. This is why I just say I hope he doesn't lose that artistic love for it in a kind of a bit of a cash grab to try and see how far he can take it.
Yeah.
But the
next one
should be the last one.
He's evidenced that I don't think he would do. When you look at the budget for this one, I can only imagine the budgets he was probably offered by studios and stuff off the back of Terrifier 2. I mean, even Terrifier 2, when it was kind of going, he's still almost saying, no, we're going to do practical effects. We're going to keep the budget low. I have absolutely no doubt that he would have been allowed to spend a lot more money should he have taken a little bit more direction himself from studio heads and stuff like that. But I mean, that's why I think, you look at the production companies with it, they're all fairly small ones. There's no big names there. When it was, I was saying at MP before we started recording, when all the production companies were coming up, it was like that Family Guy skit where he's in the cinema, like, oh, it's a film about a man. Oh no, that's just a fucking. Every time it happens now, and because some of them they genuinely look like they could be just like
part of the movie.
Like Dark Age Productions, which is like, oh, it's a film about knights. Oh no. No, I have absolutely. I mean, I have faith in him. I have faith in him and the Terrifier franchise. And if you are a fan, then I think you can be really, 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 really happy and content that this guy is going to stay true to it. And you're not going to get boom, number 4 comes out and suddenly there's fucking, millions and millions and millions thrown at it, and it just becomes something else. It becomes a parody of itself.
But I will say
that's fun
to have Art the Clown as this character that you, as a horror fan, you're looking forward to the next movie. You know, it seems like we haven't had that in a while. I mean, you had the heyday with Michael and Jason and Freddy, and then we don't really have that. And now all of a sudden we've got this character that you're like, oh, I can't wait to see what he does in the next movie.
Well, it again goes back to that trust you have of the director, because like when Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills was coming out, Halloween, well, the first one, the 2018 one, I thought, yeah, this is really good. They've done Michael Myers well here. Then Halloween Kills comes out, and I'm like, oh, no. They got this horribly wrong. So then the point where when Halloween Ends was coming out, I was more nervous than I was excited, because I was like, oh, they're going to fuck this. I know they're going to fuck it. And then they did fuck it. And I was like, oh, man. Whereas with this one, you know, you trust Damien Leone to get this right, because this is baby, and no one else has diluted it. So, like, yeah, I have faith that the next one will be good.
So would you?
I'll tell you one thing. What?
I was just wondering, would you all rank art now with those classic slasher icons? As it were?
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
I would. 100%.
Yeah. Do you know, I would put him above Jason. I'd put him above Jason. Like Jason, I think is only good. I think Jason's only good because he's iconic. Because of the hockey mask and because of the slasher genre, etc. But I've actually think about Jason as a character. There's nothing to Jason, man. He's the same in every single film. Never grows. There's no mythology really. He just is killing teenagers. Michael Myers is quality, and there's story there, and there is kind of, depending on what you class as canon and what you don't, but there is kind of growth with Michael Myers and a bit of like there's stuff there. But Jason, no, not really. So for me, yeah, I put art right up there with in the upper echelon of slasher killers, right at the top. I know he's one of the best. One of the best. There's never been anything like him
in such a short space of time. I mean, that's a lot of positives we've given it there in the last few minutes. So I'm going to bring it back down. R.I.P. Jonathan, fucking dying off screen.
Yeah,
I thought that was a waste. That was a waste. Kill that fucking kid.
Yeah, I was
kill him.
Yeah, I
he
mean,
was a little shit
horrible.
in the first one. I mean, in Terrifier 2.
It was good the way Art revealed it with like putting the glasses on it. Like that was kind of cool. But yeah, no, I do feel like that kid either deserved. I don't know. His character, having survived the second one, deserved more. Like his character either should die on screen or he should get involved. But we should see. I think we should see him go.
It was a little bit. I didn't mind, right? The almost like the two ways of, I say, dealing. I mean, Jonathan was like out of sight, out of mind, right? He was. I mean, why you'd then go to college in the same little town that you were just like almost horrifically killed in? Why Sienna would then go back to the thing? Because like they know, like they never found a body, so they intimate that they never found the body because obviously he got away. So like, surely you'd think he's still out there. Yeah, they act as though, oh, that was the spooky killings that happened, but obviously, like, yeah, they basically insinuate during the movie that without Jonathan, Sienna would have been pinged for the whole lot of killings. So,
yeah,
like, what do you think's going on? You're just going to be in the same town where you were almost horribly killed. Not just horribly killed, but you know that there's something supernatural there. I'd have been moving fucking as far away as I could. Like, and yet they're there just chilling out. So I don't really know. And Jonathan's almost in denial about it. I don't know why that's changed.
Horror trope, don't it, man? That's it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
why
horror tropes in a horror.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Like, why do these people stay in Haddonfield when Michael Myers keeps on coming back to Haddonfield? Like he never kills anyone anywhere else. He's just, like I'm moving out of Haddonfield straight away. Like
so
if I'm Sienna, I thought that was going back to that place.
I thought that was a bit of a misstep that they could have changed a little bit, because in the second one he was like your source of information, wasn't he? Because he was obsessed with it. And there was almost even a suggestion that he was a little bit fucking creepy himself, but they completely done away with that plot point.
Yeah, you could have cut him out entirely and not even changed anything in this movie.
Yeah, he does nothing. He does nothing. I also thought as well that the uncle dying off screen was a bit of a waste, because it's always more impactful when you've had some interaction with that character, right? When you see him just kill some no-name maintenance dude who's come to check out the building before it's demolished, you're like, okay, yeah, these have got some red coats that can just get killed. Whereas when it's somebody you've actually been talking with, or you've seen interacting with, and you've almost built up some sort of familiarity with them, it's just a lot more impactful when they do die. Even if it was going to be a quick kill, right? I still think that could have been I wonder if I've heard there's a director's cut, So I wonder if that is the type of thing that would
could
be
it.
that would be on there.
Yeah,
because,
maybe.
I mean, it's also
didn't-
not clear how Art finds them all, or how he just seems to know where to go. I mean, maybe you could say the demons guiding him, which would be an easy one, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how big the town is either, but I didn't mind the uncle dying off screen, but I do think Jonathan was a little bit that, because I feel like either don't really have Jonathan in it, or have him in it, and make his death a thing, because like they go to the kind of the trouble of showing him in his room crying by himself. So like you see a lot of these characters and you don't really see them exist by themselves. They're only there when Sienna's there, or to talk about kind of Sienna or something, and she's about to come in. Whereas with Jonathan, he's kind of got his own story going on. He's got his, you see him by himself with his roommates. You see him by himself in his room. So like he's given a kind of a space in this film where he's supposed to matter, and then he just dies. But he doesn't matter just to Sienna. He's supposed to matter to us as an audience. So like seeing him die would have meant something. So I feel like they probably should have shown that. But yeah, it was still quite good when he put the glasses on it. I just love the fact that Art's always
they've obviously done that for the reveal. Yeah, and it was quite a shocking thing as well. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be Gabby, the cousin. I knew it wasn't.
No.
When it was just the skull there.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it could not be Jonathan for all we know.
Yeah, true. I did think that final bit at the home was a little bit. I mean, obviously, I've not exactly enjoyed the film, right? But I didn't actually like Vicky. I thought when she started to overshadow Art, I was like, "Nah, this ain't your show, love. Get out of the way. I want to see." Like, Art becomes almost background. I didn't like that, and they're using Vicky as the like little exposition dump, aren't they? Of like, aha, I'm here because I'm evil, and here's what I'm here to do. And I was a bit like, the whole thing of what makes Art great is that's not what he does. He doesn't sit there twiddling his mustache like, that's why I'm doing this. So yeah, that was a bit of a misstep. And then obviously the whole, I didn't even get to give you your present. Oh, well, we'll have to give it to you. I was a bit like, really? Because also, why the fuck are you digging up this magic sword and not keeping it on your? You think he's there?
Right.
Why is that not on your person all the fucking
Constantly,
time? Why do you put it behind the tree, like next to your fucking snoopy ass cousin, who knows it's there, and you're just going to leave it there? Like,
I don't know what she expected to happen on Christmas morning when they're all opening presents together. They're like, "Oh, this one left, Sienna. Isn't that the one you put there?" And she's like, "Oh, I'll open it later." And they're like, "No, open it now." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, it's a letter opener. Yeah, like for me that bit was that to me suggested you've got the director there. He has what he wants to happen. Now he needs to set it up so that happens. How can I do that? Okay, what I want is for Gabby to basically give this sword to her, and it will be a bit of a trick. That's what I want to happen. How do I do that? Oh, okay, she can go and dig it up and then put it in a present behind the tree. Like, it was a little bit like suck me out of the movie a little bit. And then that
I feel like I was a bit like, I mean, what she's gone and dug it up so freshly that her hands are still covered in dirt, and somehow though she's had the thought to go to a shop, get a box that fits it, wrap it up, and
wrap it up.
Like, okay, like,
without washing her hands.
Like, yeah, maybe.
She's
also,
I will
say,
this is to the bit. She's going to follow.
This is your magic sword. This is your magic sword. Why have you left it there in the first place? Like leaving it at the scene of the crime. Like she was like, I have to go back to the Terrifier.
Yeah. She could wield that sword with 2 broken hands.
I thought she was healing.
So, yeah, I thought she was healing. Yeah,
so
I
she's
healing.
so.
I mean, it does show. Yeah, because it does show at the end, doesn't it, that she's like
that sword will never hurt. Oh, it does say the sword would never hurt her, and that's why it heals. Although, what an absolute madness! Oh no, you're slipping. We've seen there's pieces of wood because Gabby fucking hit Art with one, and you go for the sword. You're going like trying to grip the sword. She's there grimacing. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? It's not even that long. It's a little stabbing dagger.
She could have reached her arm further than that.
Use
sword.
the fucking Christmas tree. Get the Christmas tree down there. She's got plenty of shit to grab onto. Fucking hell!
Yeah,
you've just killed your cousin there, you dumb bit.
I did. Oh, yeah. I mean, that end bit, she makes, I think, quite throughout the film, quite good decisions for the most part. But at the end, I was like, you've got a sword in art, and you're kind of looking back. Oh, shall I go? Shall I stay? Shall I go? Shall I stay? I'm not sure. Oh, okay, I'm going to pull the sword out. You know, in that time, she could literally pull the sword out, stabbed him through his face, stabbed him, about 16 times in the face, then run off, and still in the same time frame.
Yeah.
But they do that as well.
But
she decapitates Vicky, and then they're like, "Oh, thank goodness, that's over now.
Yeah,
we're safe." Oh no, it's Art with the chainsaw. Like, what? Did you fucking forget him? Like, you literally cut his head off. He came back. He's not done from a little slit to the throat.
Or when
I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna
Sienna
stab Art in the head.
She's fighting with Art and drops the sword. And then Gabby decides now's the time I'm going to have a conversation with my dead mother.
Oh, God.
Instead of going over there and handing her the sword bag and help her, I'm like, come on, little girl.
Yeah. That's what that final scene really let it down, I think. The scene,
bro, your mum is dead.
Fairly standard. Yeah.
Your mum is dead,
had
bro.
rats crawling out her throat. She is gone.
Like, I know you're young, right? But I'm pretty confident that at that age, if I had to see someone with a fucking tube whack down their throat like that, their fucking face split open in their throat, I'm gonna know they're gone. But I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Hatch. I did not like that last scene. I did not like that last scene. I thought it was all right. Vicky, I appreciate what you're saying about stealing the limelight from Art, but I feel like that scene there was where we finally got to the kind of meat and potatoes of really that, because Art is just a serial killer. He's a human psycho that's been reanimated and given, essentially given license to, do what he wants to do, right? He's just a human psycho. Whereas this thing is an evil demon. And like, I like the fact that I now got to see what was behind it. It's a bit like, and I do think it's difficult for these horror people, right? Because on one hand, you've got you saying there, it's exposition dump, and some of the thing that's good about it is just seeing art be art, and you don't really know why. But then you've also got MP saying, but you kind of want to know a bit more about why things are happening. So it's a really, really difficult line for these directors to tread. And I didn't think he did it that badly. I didn't think it was like, that she's just going to be there to explain all this stuff that otherwise I can't tell you. She's just there like, I'm going to take you like I took this bitch and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, it's all right. And she's kind of quite menacing. So I do know, I can imagine that a lot of people are like, no, I just prefer art being art, but I actually like it. And I'm really into this side of the story that's a bit more kind of supernatural fantasy based. And I want to see where they go with it. So that last scene, I was all right with. I said
if they give me a bit more, I might have liked it a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I agree though. It's thin, like they probably, because the whole supernatural part with the sword and all that stuff, it only really comes in that last 20 minutes. The rest of the film doesn't really feature any of this stuff. I know you've got the pictures being drawn by her dad and those bits and pieces. So I would have liked more development of that part, but I still felt that last bit was good. And I was praying that Sienna, did get the sword and did fuck them up, because I don't want it to just be one of these the bad guys win kind of things. Right. I feel like for this thing to come full circle properly, Art needs to get his comeuppance, and he needs to get it properly.
Yeah,
for me, it just felt like a very you've made that happen. You've written that to happen like that. It doesn't feel like a natural.
It didn't feel organic.
It didn't feel organic.
The sword bit, no, I agree. Like, I mean, because I when he was standing there, you can see Art's. So the camera's kind of close up on Art to his, where he looking straight on at him as Vicky is trying to take over Sienna, and I thought the next shot was going to be the sword is going to come through Art's chest because the little girl has opened it, and I was like, that would make sense. The way it did happen, I do think was a bit cheesy, although seeing Art hammer her hands and stuff, I was like, again, just absolute shithousery. The way he's slapping her in the back of the head.
Yeah, I know it. Every time he walked by her.
Yeah, he's so bad because he's not a demon. This is the thing. I think we were watching this and thinking he's a demon clown. No, Art's just a human person.
He's just been
just a terrible.
Yeah.
He's just an awful, like the worst of the absolute worst. Like the demon is a demon. You're like, okay, demons are supposed to be evil, but this is a person, a a person with the spirit of God in them somewhere, and he's just this kind of evil. Like, it is fucking awful the way he is. There's not an ounce of compassion in this motherfucker, man.
Not at
Like,
all.
oh my god,
I
he's the
I think.
worst.
Do you know what I think? Right, I don't think any kill topped the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2. Right, and do you know what I also think? I think some of the kills. I don't know. I feel like they almost purposefully didn't elongate them as much as they could have done. And this is really weird considering me, you know, I've said that's not for me. This kind of killing is not for me. And yet, right, I was almost seeing some of these kills and I thought they died quite quickly. You know, the shower scene, which I think is almost set up as like the scene in this film, right? Even the bloke getting his fucking arsehole rammed with a chainsaw had minimal reaction to it because he's basically dead at that point. The girl in the shower who wanted to see the face of evil, she was like not really reacting. I feel like the difference there in Terrifier 2 with a bedroom scene is that one, we saw her terror, right? Her terror lasted and her pain fucking lasted. And we fucking knew about it in the audience because she did not stop screaming. And then to top it all up, when the mum came in, she was still fucking alive and was just there like, help me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like horrific stuff.
I do. I do
not want to watch it again.
I think Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2 both had deaths in them that were worse than any of the ones in this one. Because the one in Terrifier 1 where the girl's upside down and he chainsaws her down the middle, that was just fucking horrific.
No, he doesn't.
And I appreciate that's not.
Her.
I was like,
Saucer.
Yeah, Saucer. Yeah.
Fucking slow.
Like I appreciate that's not so dissimilar to what happens to this bloke, but it was worse, man. And then that one in the bedroom scene, just in number 2, was the absolute worst. I remember watching it for the first time.
That's the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
That is
on the screen.
fucking That was. I think that was. Well, I told you. I think I said in the podcast that was now in my top 3 deaths in any horror film ever.
You did.
Like
you did.
Just absolutely fucking awful. Whereas in this one, the deaths are fucking horrendous. They are horrendous. They're terrible, but they're nowhere near as. Do you know what it is? It's kind of like, I don't know, like the Santa Claus guy when he gets done, right? That is an awful way to go, right? That is an awful, and I was thinking that is an awful way to go, but it's not quite as, I don't know, that girl in the bedroom, like you say, the terror, the kind of, I don't know, like I kind of feel to myself, like if I was in that bar and I just seen this guy shoot my friends, and then somehow, how does he get in the chair? How does he get me in the chair? And I was a bit like, you skipped a bit there. I don't know how he ends up like this. And I wasn't as in it. Whereas with that girl, you're like, fuck, she's just seen this guy. He's in the kitchen. She runs upstairs and it's horrible. It's her own home. There's no way out. And he gets her and he just tortures her and it's elongated and it's just fucking. Oh my god, it was awful. So these ones, I think you're right. They were all a bit quicker. Like the kid at the beginning is, it's terrible because he's chopped the kid up. But that's quick.
And you don't see it.
Then
you don't see it. It's quick. You didn't even know. Yeah.
The husband, like, I mean,
or maybe
like, it ain't no what for the standard of what we're talking about. Ain't the worst. Then the mum, she goes. It's not nice, but at all. But I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as some of these other ones. She's
dead. She's dead within 8 to 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as bad. She takes the axe to the head.
Which relatively, I mean, this is fucked up. We're like, wait, you already died.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. Hatch, like, I hate seeing this stuff. I don't want to watch this stuff. However, I want these scenes to be as graphic as the worst death scene I've ever seen in a movie. I need more of that.
Precedent has been set.
I mean, the guy in the 2 servicemen, one of them dies relatively good. In these films, just gets stabbed in the neck. And then the other guy, then the other one, I mean, he gets his face peeled off.
That was horrific. That was horrific.
Brutal.
But
I
was
also kind of,
and what she does with that piece of glass. Oh my god. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that was awful. That was awful. But
I was like,
that guy, I was kind of like, but that guy, I was kind of like, mate, you probably deserve to die. I mean, you're not putting up any fight whatsoever. Like, are you not going to do anything? Like, this guy's just throwing you, and you're like,
Yeah,
we
you didn't
know
care
him.
about him dying as much, innit?
You know,
was
you're a
gruesome,
no-name,
but you didn't care.
character. Yeah, you're an intro person death. That is the only thing I'd say as well, is that like the first family who die in that bit, I was like, at what point are you dying here? Why are you dying here? You know what I mean? Like, this is almost like this is the trailer. This is the trailer kill. This is the you don't matter to the story.
Yeah.
You could have almost had those kills. Yeah, I mean,
but I did find that one uncomfortable. Like I found them that family
agreed.
dying more uncomfortable than I did like you know, the servicemen and stuff like even the couple, like the couple in the shower. As soon as you see them fucking in the shower, you're like, okay. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible that he just opens the door and he's got a chainsaw, because you're like, there is nothing you could do. There is nothing you could do. And in fact, when he got his hand on the chainsaw to actually like wrestle with Art a bit, I was like, this is actually the most you could ever hope for. But then he weeds out like a pansy, and she just stands there like a fucking useless cow, and probably deserves what she gets for it. I mean, I don't literally think she deserves it.
No, I mean, you did have some anti-women comments in Terrifier 2, so it's good you're keeping up the story.
No way, because I'll tell you one thing: Sienna fucking rocks. Sienna is fucking. Sienna is this is fucking final girl A1 level class shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, when you choose to use a sword as a fucking handhold, then you're doing all right. Fucking moron. Right. That I think we've had a lot to talk about with this film. And I love it. And I'm hoping that you do as well, listeners. Is anybody changing their rating?
No, I'm gonna stay where I'm at 6.5.
No, I'll stay at a 7, but a good. I'm gonna say
Terrifier 2. You happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. And an 8.5 on the horror.
Okay.
I think relatively similar to the last one. I don't think there's that much.
Exact same.
I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it is. You're not wrong. It is really, really, really similar. There's just enough differences, and there was enough good about the last one that seeing it again was not a problem for me in that sense. Yeah. So I would say, still a 7. But I do think if you like horrors, this is an upper echelon horror film. If you like slashers, particularly.
If you like
slashers,
yeah. What do you think the critics and audience think?
Oh, I think it's got to be high, man. It's got to be. I think it's going to be high. I think critics are going to recognize this for what it is, and they're going to be horror critics. I reckon this is going to be good. I reckon maybe like 90% for critics, and I think the audience score is going to be fucking high, man. I reckon the audience score is going to be like 95 or something. 90 and 95.
Okay. Critics, I don't know. That's tough. If you bring in the horror critics, it's going to be high. But regular critics, I would go. How about 68 for critics? But I think audience is going to be high because this is the third movie, and so you're going to get the fans of this genre and this movie and Art the Clown. So I think audience is going to be probably in the, I'll say 90 for audience.
Ooh, 90 for audience, exactamundo, and 78 for critics. So you both kind of decide of that.
Really? I thought the audience, I thought the critics score would be higher because I assumed it would be horror critics.
Do you know what? Do you know what? There's only 80 reviews on the critics, so that may well change. There's over 1,000 verified ratings for the audience, but
so 90 for the audience.
Yeah. I mean, critics. Some critics are just not. That's not what they want to watch. So they're going to see this movie and be like, "Oh, well, this is just typical slasher trash."
Yeah, I think most except. I think most except though. Like, if you look at the Scream sequels that have been absolute dog shit, right? They don't do what they're saying they're going to do. They're just moronic slashers that don't make any sense. Whereas this, at least, I mean, I know I've been critical, but it does make sense. It does what it wants to do. I just don't enjoy what it wants to do.
God, when I think about the difference in the gulf in quality between a film like this and those Scream films, like
I know,
and how much a Scream
tiny budget.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
Fraction because they're not that cheap.
God, those new Scream
but
films, they really were dreadful.
I forgot to say actually, 6.5, a 7, and a 4.5. What is our rating?
You're genuinely not changing from.
I'm not. No, I can't. If they'd done a bit more with the story, I might have been able to do something. But I didn't enjoy Terrifier 2, whilst I could appreciate it. And here, well, you've not done anything. You've just stagnated. You've not done anything new. If they'd progressed the story and brought a little bit more into it, but I just feel like you just longed it out a bit. You've just done the exact same thing. You've not done. For me, there's no advancement here. You're just like, people really enjoyed Terrifier 2. I'm going to continue that for a little bit. You've done zero with the story. We have the exact same amount of knowledge about the dad and why he was getting all this shit. Sienna does the exact same thing where she's like, basically, is she going crazy? Like, what's going on? But now we have no brother doing any kind of, is he a bit weird? What's going on? We have no real.
But you don't feel like art, just that kind of like the quality of art as a character and the
art
way
was
he goes
fantastic
about
in Terrifier 2, and he's fantastic.
Doesn't get you to a 5. That doesn't get you to a 5.
It doesn't because whilst art is amazing, right? I would say he's often in it less. He's now sharing screen with Vicky, who I didn't enjoy as much. We've got the
4.5 is below average. Below average.
To me, this is.
I don't think
but
you're also. This is also. Come on now.
This is also a film
That's
that
wild.
I wouldn't choose to
That is
watch. It's
wild.
also a film I wouldn't choose to watch, and I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy.
But you said
all
you can
the gore for
appreciate the
gore's sake.
love and effort put into the movie more so than last week's movie.
So are we
And you gave
appreciating someone's
Joker
hard work?
4.5. So
Yeah.
What would you give it? All right, let me ask you this. What would you give it if we were just judging it from a horror perspective to other horror? If this was a horror pod, what would you give it?
Yeah, but I don't enjoy this type of horror. I don't. My enjoyment.
Yeah, I'm
factor,
asking. Yeah,
I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. The fucking Deej, the favorite Deej catchphrase. Did I enjoy it? Yes or no? No, I didn't enjoy it. Did I enjoy sitting there for 2 hours watching something I don't want to watch? No, I didn't enjoy it.
Suck me, yeah.
A high rating
Suck me dry, bro. No. I'm just curious. I'm just curious to know if it was just a horror pod. So we were only talking to horror people about it. Would your rating still be a 4.5 or not?
No, because I didn't enjoy it, and I'm a horror fan. What are you
So
not getting
even
here?
just as a horror? No, because
I don't enjoy this type of horror. You don't enjoy Paranormal Activity, right? What would you give Paranormal Activity?
Like a 6, because it's still a good. I can recognize that Paranormal Activity, though it's not my.
What do you give Paranormal Activity 2 then? Because you said they're the dog shit. So they're the same thing.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Incorrect. No. I didn't say they're dog shit. I said they're dog shit. I said they're just the same. They're all the same. So like, I'd say for my personal enjoyment.
These are all fucking same.
Hey, calm down for a second, Jeff. Well, calm down for. Incorrect.
Oh my god.
No, not incorrect.
Oh my god.
No, because Art the Clown is different. No. Because Art brings something fresh every time.
Stop him.
Listen to yourself, man. But art brings something different every time. Paranormal Activity is just like, I can only so many times I can see a book fall off a shelf or fucking.
Exactly.
There's only so many times I can see some red dye get poured down some skin-looking rubber before I'm like, okay, do something else now.
There's not enough. I can watch that every day.
It's not enough.
I need more of that.
It doesn't.
I think you shamed yourself in your legacy, because if I look at some of the films you've given 4.5 to recently, I think you disgraced yourself.
I'm true to myself and to my heart, and that's all like man can ask for.
You're true to the sex offenders register. That's what you're true to, and that's the only thing you're true to.
I fucking hate you. I hate you. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you hung around for this little rant, bit, then, you're probably.
Can I just tell you? Can I just tell you what it got on the calculator? I
already worked it out.
on the Just Go Watch calculator, just so you know, fair listeners, we officially give it a 6. Though really, you should include my 8.5 from the horror scale. So you could probably say it's higher.
You shouldn't, because this has got a tiny amount of people who will actually want to go and see this and who will enjoy it. The majority, your Endgame loving Marvel DC people, will be like, "What the fuck?"
I'm one of those people. I am one of those people, and I wanted to see this film. So suck me.
I will suck you like you suck off every single production company going. But there's only one way that you are going to know if you like it. I am so interested. If you are still listening, please, please, please comment on either our YouTube, on our podcast, whatever. Send us a message on Twitter, on Instagram. Did you like the film?
Pods.
Was it for you? Yeah, but there's only one way you're going to know, and that is
you
Just
must
go
go watch.
suck yourself.